Adobe wines are blends, and they're actually blended with a purpose in mind. And even before that, they're grown for the wine that we're going to make. On our 1,400-acre estate, I'm able to select certain blocks and actually rows within the vineyard on different topography and geology to really get the flavors that we want to come out in the wine. We get to specifically farm them for these Adobe wines also, which means our entire winemaking process actually starts on our own red cedar estate vineyard. And then we carry it through the winemaking process to make all the Adobe wines. And really, for us, it's all about the blend. Winemakers have been using blends for hundreds of years to make the type of wines that are expected from their regions. In Bordeaux, they use 5 different varieties. In France, in southern France, they use 13 different varieties in the Rhone. What's really nice about working here as a winemaker in Paso Robles is I'm not bound by any type of variety. I can use any variety I want to create these Adobe wines. So it really gives me a large palette of colors to work with, and it's unrestricted, very free. And so this is our Adobe Red. And for me, this is probably the most difficult wine to make because there are so many components. Normally, the 3 main components are Zinfandel, Petit Syrah, and Cabernet Sauvignon, and they change from year to year. I was saying earlier that what's great about blends is you can create consistency from year to year. So with each vintage, we have different weather patterns, and they make the varietals, they come out a little bit differently each year. So we do some different blending techniques to trying to get the flavors that we want. And each one of the varieties in the Adobe Red brings something different to the table. The Zinfandel is a very soft and round wine with a lot of strawberry jam flavor. The Cabernet Sauvignon brings some depth and length to the wine. Also some really bright cherry fruit we get here in Paso Robles from Cabernet. And then the Petit Syrah brings a lot of darkness and weight to the wine, and a lot of mid-palate structure from the Petit Syrah, and it gives it almost a touch of bramble and tobacco. Those are the 3 main players for Adobe. And then the really fun part comes in because we get to add all the spices now. And those can include Syrah, which brings a lot of gaminess and can really mellow the entire wine out. Tempranillo, if we need a little bit of structure and more of the leather and plum notes. Sometimes some Tannat for a lot of color. And again, it also brings that darkness to the wine in the mid-palate. Each vintage, you're dealt a different set of cards. So certain years we may use some Malbec, certain years Petit Verdot, certain years Tempranillo, depending on how strong the vintage is in fruit or how strong it is tannin-wise. We really have to balance the texture of the wine in the mouth along with those fruit flavors. That's one of the things that I think really attracts people to the Adobe Red is its strength of the fruit and softness of the tannins. So really my job is to kind of balance those out each year. And to do that, we'll either add more fruit from the Syrah and the Zinfandel, or bring in more structure and color with Petit Verdot, Petit Syrah, and Tempranillo. And then there's other wines that kind of just flesh out the middle and add complexity and spice. Malbec would be one of those. You get a nice anise note from it. The Cabernet can bring black pepper. Syrah can bring white pepper. And when I'm tasting this wine, it's almost like I'm tasting each of the varieties individually. You have the strawberry come on, and then you're like, oh, that's the Zinfandel. It's really full in the mouth. And then you can taste that bright cherry notes, and there's your Malbec. And then on the end, you have some spice components and a little gaminess. and length that you get from Petit Verdot, Petit Syrah. So when I'm tasting this wine, I really feel like I'm tasting all those individuals kind of together in one bottle. Yeah. So this is our Adobe White. It's one of my favorite wines to make. It is a blend of Viognier, Sauvignon Blanc, and Grenache Blanc, and some Princess.
What's Princess?
Well, Princess is actually a table grape, a cross of a Muscat and Crimson Seedless. But it makes a very wonderful aromatic wine, very floral. So that actually matches very well with the Viognier. The Viognier tends to have honey blossoms, and so this is a real nose, what I call a nose wine, because it's so highly aromatic. Sometimes you just can keep smelling it over and over before you taste it. That's how I usually define a nose wine. It's really a balanced wine that starts with aromatics, and then it rolls into mouthfeel. With the Viognier, it gives a very rich, viscous feel in your mouth. And then we add the Grenache Blanc and the Sauvignon Blanc, and that really cuts to the acidity of the wine, which is really the backbone of the entire blend. And they all work together congruently, and that's how we design the wine. I want it to be almost like a roller coaster ride in your mouth from start to finish. There's some excitement. You're smelling the wine. Your anticipation's building, and then you taste the volume in the mouth. It has the length, and it makes a complete wine in the end. So really, with the Adobe Pink, you want it to have a nice salmon color. Really, it needs to be pretty to look at, and have some good acidity, but also fruit. It's really designed to be a refreshing wine that you drink in the spring and summertime. Usually in the afternoon or as the sun's going down is a nice time to enjoy the Adobe Pink. It's important for a rosé to have some pretty aromatics also, and complexity. So really trying to get floral notes, fruit notes, sometimes a little touch of vanilla here and there. But it should be a pleasant, invigorating experience drinking the Adobe Pink.